Patty. Patsy is the Twin Creeks Extension District 4H Youth Development Agent, and you are here for the floral design class, hopefully. So I'm looking forward to learning here right along with you all.
Hey, so good morning, everyone. It looks like we hopefully have a few more kids that are going to join. I'm glad you signed up for this class. It's going to be a little bit different than we would have had in Manhattan. Usually this is a 3-hour class and we make 2 different types of arrangements. So this will be a little bit different, but we'll see what we can do. Let me see if I can, here we go. Okay. As Ginger said, my name is Patsy. So a little bit of my floral background, I went to K and I took the floral design class. It was, or the option, it was a 2-year option. You did classes the first year, and then the year you were to do an internship. I studied under Dr. Odom. It was, and then that first year, and then that summer, there were 4 of us that went to Cliffman Floral Design School in Denver, Colorado, which was an intense 4-week class of learning and making flowers. And so that's where I got even more information as far as floral design. So I did not do an internship because at that time, the only internships I could find were non-paying internships, and I had to pay bills. And so I went ahead and graduated from K-State in kinesiology, and I do floral design on the side. So anytime flower shops need help, especially for Mother's Day or Valentine's Day or some of the bigger holidays, I love going in, and that's kind of my stress relief. So a little bit of background on the floral design part. So today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the floral design, principles of design, elements of design, color schemes, flowers, fillers, and greenery. And we're going to get design. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get information out to you guys soon enough for you to get, we got a little background noise, for you to get flowers. So that will be a challenge for you to go ahead and do that. So before we get started, could you type in the chat box, have you done any designing of flowers or done anything like that? Do you have any history? Or put together flower arrangements for any reason at all? So if you just type in the chat box, and then I'll have some idea, and Ginger's gonna kind of monitor that for us.
So if you don't know how to use chat, I think at the bottom of your screen, there's just a little icon that says chat. And if you click on that, it should pop up a little box to the side that you can type in.
Yeah. And Ginger, if you wouldn't mind, as they start chatting or filling in their answers, kind of sharing that with us. Whoop, you did.
So we have 3 that looks like have some experience, and 2, and now there's a 3rd one that doesn't. So we're about half and half, it looks like.
Okay, awesome. So flower design, began way back in the Egyptian time, back in 2800 BC. And they have found evidence of this in artifacts and in wall painting. And they used their flower designs similar to what we do today. They decorated their temples, banquet tables, wreaths, processions, and they were given in honor of someone. So a lot of those things, can you guys name a few different occasions where you would give flowers to someone or where flowers would be used? So I'm going to give Ginger a workout today in the chat box. Since we can't be in the same room together, we're going to try to utilize this feature on our virtual class.
So Patsy, you want them to type in times when you would use flower arrangements?
Yep. Yeah. So what when would you go to a flower store and order flowers, either be given to someone for what occasion, or where would you find flower arrangements?
We got weddings so far.
Yep, very good.
Valentine's Day.
Oh, yep, that's probably the top holiday for flowers. Any others that you can think of?
Somebody said receptions.
Yeah.
Funeral.
I am a lot of funerals, yes. That's another top one. A lot of you guys are in high school or approaching high school. Are there any events or activities that flowers might be used there?
Graduations, prom, dinners.
Yes. Yep. Very good. So one of the biggest holidays is Valentine's Day. This past Valentine's Day, I went to a local flower shop and assisted them. We had 5 designers that were poking flowers for probably 13 hours straight. It's a huge day. And does anyone know what the most used flower is for Valentine's Day? Can anybody?
Alana says rose.
Yeah, red roses. That is the ultimate for Valentine's Day, especially. That's a real traditional design and stuff. So funerals, we were always taught, a lot of times, you know, funerals, a lot of people get to see the arrangements at a funeral. And so there are some flower shops that will use flowers that probably aren't quite as fresh as they could be, because they are going out to the cemetery and then they will lay there and they're going to wilt and fade away anyway. But the most important thing about funerals is that's where you absolutely want to use your very fresh flowers, because they are seen by a lot of people. And so, and flower shops, you want to make sure you use your precious flower all the time, if at all possible. But with flowers, you have no idea when they are going to be needed. So you have an overhead cost, and a lot of times there's a lot of waste. So that's why, you know, you have a little bit bigger markup. A lot of times it's at least 4 times. So like when I went to the flower shop yesterday, here's a single red rose, and she had marked on the container, I don't know if you can get that in the right spot there, $5 a piece. But when I ordered these for the class in Manhattan, if we could have been there, they would normally probably cost me $1.25, $1.50, depending on the time of year. So there's quite a bit of a markup, just because a lot of times there's quite a bit of a loss. So they have to take that consideration. And for funerals, a lot of the flower suppliers, they do second day or the next day. You can order them depending on what their shipments are. So that's a little bit about flowers. So we're going to talk a little bit about principles of design. Creating flower arrangements isn't just picking flowers and poking them in a vase. There has to be some structure and organization behind it. So a lot of principles of design, elements of design, there's a lot of art that goes into floral arrangement. So we're not going to talk about all of these. Ooh, says my internet connection. Very good. So balance is one, physical and visual. So when you create a floral arrangement, you don't want it to be really top heavy. Look top heavy, because physically it's going to topple over if you have a small vase on the top and tons of flowers in your arrangement. And I see this a lot of times in the classes when I do them in Manhattan. They'll take any little bed vase and we'll cram 20 flowers in there. And then they have a huge mound up here, and it just looks like it's going to topple over. So balance is a lot of your design. Focal point, a lot of times you want one specific focal point. Other times you want it all the same. and symmetrical. You need to take into consideration where these flowers are going to go. So that goes into the proportion of it. If it's like in a hallway where you have space, you can make a really tall and wide arrangement. But if you're going to put an arrangement on a table where you're going to sit down and eat, you need to be able to see over that arrangement so you can have a conversation with the individual on the other side of you. So there are a lot of different things that you need to take into consideration in flower design. And just a few more combinations. You want to make sure that, you know, the colors that you choose go with each other really well. So we're going to skip on to elements of design. This is where there are vertical arrangements, horizontal arrangements, diagonal curves, static, dynamic, all different types. And so it's leads your eye. So what is the first thing going to, it draws your eye to when you look at a floral arrangement? The texture can be informal. Informal would be more like a rustic arrangement is kind of what I think of informal. The sizes of the flowers matter, the flowers to flowers, flowers to foliage, and the flowers to the container. So
Patsy, we lost you. We did lose her. Hold on, everybody. Hopefully we'll get her back here.
I'm back.
I can hear you kind of, Patsy. You're cutting out a little bit.
Oh boy. Okay. Is that better?
I could hear you there. Yeah.
Okay. Are we doing okay now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. That's weird. That's never happened before on all of the Zooms that we've had. Okay, so do I need to share my screen again?
Yes, I cannot see that.
Okay. Now, give it a minute.
Yeah, I think it's a little delayed.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
I live in Western Kansas.
You can't control your internet speed.
No, I know.
Is the video on?
Okay, you tell me when we're ready. Do you see the elements of design screen?
No.
Ah, okay.
Maybe try again.
I'm gonna stop share and share it.
Yeah.
So whenever you see the screen.
Not yet.
Oh.
I
wonder if it would work.
Got
it?
It's coming.
Okay.
It's just delayed, I think. But it does say you're screen sharing
Okay.
and just have a black screen.
Oh. Wonder if it would work better if I connected to my hotspot. That is just weird. No, I'm not techie.
We have you now, Patsy. We're good.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, hopefully that doesn't happen again. Okay, so then we're going to spend a little bit of time on color. There are several different color schemes: monochromatic, analogous, complementary color triads, split complements, and then I think I've got a couple others as well. So we're going to move forward. So this is, I'm sure all of you guys in grade school have learned about primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. So this is the color wheel, and we use the color wheel a lot in floral arrangement. We have 3 primary colors, which are red, yellow, and blue. Secondary colors, green, orange, and purple. And then our tertiary colors are the ones that are mixed together between the primary and the secondary. It says my internet connection is unstable, so let me know if I go away again. Cool and warm colors. Warm colors are vivid and energetic, and so warm colors remind you of fire. That's how I remember what colors are, red, yellow, and cool colors remind me of ocean and the sky. So blues, greens, and in that area. White, black, and grays, those are neutral. So complementary colors, think of Christmas, red and green. Complementary colors are straight across from each other on the color wheel. There's a little high contrast, and sometimes if it's kind of tricky to use some of those colors together. Split complementary colors, you have a base color and then the colors that are adjacent from the complementary color. So the complementary color on this would be red. So the adjacent color for a split complementary would be the purple and the orange. And so that's a really strong visual contrast. Triad colors, there are 3 colors that are only based on color. And even in the pill versions, it makes a really good combination. So you have 1 color that's dominant and 2 colors that are accent colors. Analogous, those are colors that are right next to each other on the color wheel. And those are kind of fun to work with. And I think that's what we're going to do today at the end. I've got kind of a deeper burgundy, and let me see if I can get these out quick. So they are right next to each other on the color wheel. So you've got pink and a darker pink and then a burgundy. So that's an example of those. Oop. Rectangle colors, and this is kind of just getting to a little bit more advanced if you want to really play and have some fun. Or there are a lot of arrangements that are just made with mixed colors. And that's something that would fall into this rectangle colors and then also into this square colors. Okay, so now we're going to look at a few different floral arrangements. This is a traditional arrangement, the classic red and white, it's big, and the baby's breath, which the official name for baby's breath is Gypsophilia. So this is a very traditional arrangement. Your red is your dominant color, white is your accent color, and then you always have green supporting your flower arrangements. So that's what this one is, traditional. Monochromatic means using 1 color. And I really like this arrangement. It leads your eye. It's using the traditional red roses. It's a crescent shape. But it's a 1 color, and then they use like the twigs and sticks to just give a little bit of drama.
Betsy, you might pause for a second. Your screens are catching up there. We are on monochromatic now, so.
Okay. You still on the red one?
Yeah, I can see the pink one now.
Okay, so I'll just slow down a little bit and pause when I switch. This arrangement is also a monochromatic. It uses 1 color and it uses different shades of that color. It has the lily as a focal point. So when you look at this arrangement, your eye goes directly to the lily and then out. Lilies are kind of hard to work with, mostly because if you see on the left side of the screen, those buds have not opened yet. And so you have to try to get them placed in your arrangement so that when they do open up, it still complements the entire arrangement. Are we on the white one now?
Not yet.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, thanks. You might just let me know, Ginger.
I can do
So
that.
this is also, okay, thank you. This is also monochromatic. It's using one color variations, and then they use the green as the supporting color. And we should
We
be getting
are,
to an now.
yep, we have moved on.
Okay, so analogous, if you remember, are colors that are right next to each other. And so you'll see in this arrangement, there's red and kind of orangish color, and then yellow. And so this is a triangle design. It's wider on the bottom and goes to a point at the top. And they use their Gerber daisies as their focal point. So we should be coming up with an arrangement that has red roses.
It just popped.
Okay, so this is also an analogous arrangement. It has red roses and the pink carnations and the purple accent filler or support colors. And this is in a triangle shape. You notice this one, this arrangement is more airy, so it's got a lot of space between the flowers. When you're doing flower arrangements, each flower itself is very important and it wants to be seen. So a lot of times you'll see flower arrangements that all of the flowers are really close and jammed in together. So it's not giving just those flowers because sometimes they get hidden and can't be seen.
We're good, Patsy.
Okay, so this is also an analogous arrangement, again with the reds and oranges. So this is an L shape. It comes down and out, and they are using daisies as a focal point. And then you've got the yellow is called Solidago. I love using that as a filler because it can fill in a lot of big voids very nicely.
We're good.
This is called an inverted T. I love this design. It's very simple. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to make because if you notice, the little purple filler flowers are very nicely spaced coming down from the top of the T, but it's inverted. So, and the pink lily is your dramatic point.
We're good.
Okay, so this, I like this arrangement. It makes me think of summer and all of the different flowers that bloom during the summertime. It's got your sunflower for the focal point, and this is more of a triangle shape. It has some leading lines. If you see the purple flowers that, it's bigger at the bottom and then it gets smaller as it go up, the 3 there.
We're good.
This is a crescent shape. These are kind of fun. These are harder to make, but they're kind of fun. It's a little bit different than the traditional shapes, and these are made of complementary colors.
We're good.
Okay, this is a pink. Is the dominant color. It's complementary because you got the pink and the green accent colors. The rose, the big rose in the middle is the focal point. You can see that there are so many different ways and different design types, lines that you can use.
We're looking at a different one now.
Yep. Okay, so this one is pink. This is also a complementary design. It is more vertical, so it's more straight up and down. The darker is at the bottom where the focal point is, and then it gets lighter as you go up.
We're good.
Okay, this is a split complementary scheme as well. This is more of a dome shape. It reminds me of you go out in the garden and you gather all different kinds of flowers and you just gather them as a bunch. But these are very specifically spaced out. If you look at the roses where they're spaced, and the yellow yarrow and all of the different flowers, they're very intentionally put in specific spaces.
We're good.
This is an oval shape. So this would be a flower arrangement. It's low and long that you would be able to use on a table, at a dinner table, so you could see over and have conversations with each other.
It changed.
This is also a horizontal shape, and it's displaying a lot of the warm colors. It's twice as long as it is high. So this would also be a good one for a table.
It's good.
Okay, so here are color triads. This is a mixed floral arrangement. Kind of, again, reminds me of summer flowers. And it's, there we go.
It changed.
Okay, so probably one of my very favorites are sunflowers. We live in Kansas and there's sunflowers all around. This is using one single flower with the greens and the fillers. So if you would go into a store, an estimate for the cost of this would be about $90. So a lot of times it doesn't take a lot of flowers. It depends on what it is to get to that, that dollar amount. Okay, so now we're just going to look at, these are a few more of the common flowers that flower shops use in their arrangements. So the rose, which is very traditional, comes in many different colors. Oh, I should have waited. Did you see rose?
We're looking at the Alstroemeria.
Alstroemeria, yeah. So this is kind of a lily. So the important thing with these, with the Alstroemeria, it's a filler. It's a flower, but it's also a filler flower. But if you'll notice, you can't see me pointing. If you notice the, we always say you need to pick their noses. See the little pollen on the what do you call those, stamens? You need to pull that off, because if you don't, it makes the petals messy as it gets older. So you need to make sure you pull that off of those little stems.
I'm not going to try to pronounce that one, but we're looking at it.
Okay. This is greenery. It's called variegated pittosporum. We usually just call it variegated pit. This is not always real easy to use, because if you'll notice at the bottom, it's got a big stem. It's like cutting a branch off of a tree. And so it's used a lot in your bigger arrangements, and a lot of times with the floral foam that you put the flowers in, is just a free-form vase where the arrangement is just put into water. But it adds a lot of depth with the variegation.
We're looking at the lily now.
Yes, I love stargazer lilies, but like I said, a lot of times they're very difficult to use because you have to place them in your arrangement. Usually there is one that is open, and 2 or 3 on the stem that are not opened. So they will open later on, as you know, several days later, but you need to try to get them placed so that when they do open, they still look very pretty in the arrangement. And then next should be another greenery. Got it?
Yep.
Okay, this is eucalyptus. It's kind of fun to use because it's kind of a dull, lighter green. And so it adds a little bit of texture and just a variation of the type of leaf. A lot of times your greenery is real smooth and glossy. And this also smells like eucalyptus, so it's kind of fun to use.
We're good. I actually think you've sped up now. So Patsy, I'll let you know if we're behind.
Okay, so this is status. This is, I like this. They actually had yellow status, if I can get that in there, at the flower shop yesterday. This is actually pretty old, and I probably would not use it in arrangements because it's starting to get brown. But it's, when you touch the status, it feels paper-like. So you can actually save this and use it in dried arrangements. So it comes in colors, purple, pink, white, yellow, but it's a filler. And the next is a tulip. Tulips are kind of difficult to use when they come, oh, I wish we could be together. They come in a tube so that their stems are very fragile. And so you have to be really careful with them when you put them in your arrangements, because you don't want to put them in foam. You want to make sure they're just going in a vase with water. And tulips don't last very long. This is a greenery. It's called asparagus Ming fern. It's great in filling up voids and holes. The reason I don't always like to use this is that it sheds a lot. So you can put it in and it just sheds tiny little leaves all over the place. But it's very pretty in designs. It's got a real fine texture to it. So here's the famous traditional gypsophilia, which everybody calls baby's breath. There have been some gals that have used that for their wedding bouquet, just simply the baby's breath. It was very pretty. You get this in various openings. So had yesterday actually is pretty nice. Whoops, let me get there. It's open. A lot of times it's not open that big, so it takes a little bit of time to get to. The calla lily, those are more of a focal point and a dramatic flower. My son-in-law wanted calla lilies for his boutonniere when he married my daughter, and I'm thinking, oh, that's a big flower for a boutonniere. So they do come in smaller sizes, but most of the time they are pretty big flowers, so you use them for a statement. This is leatherleaf, which is arrangements. It's, I don't know if you can see that. It's a fern, and it fills a lot of space. It's a really good backing because you can put your flowers up against it, and it's a good support greenery. So these are bells of Ireland. Bells of Ireland are actually a flower, but they use this as a greenery and as a filler as well. Carnations, lots and lots of arrangements have carnations in. They are big and they fill a lot of space, and they're very pretty, and they also smell really good. This greenery is called ruscus. Kind of makes me think of the jungle a little bit, but sometimes it's used in more formal arrangements just because of the shape of its leaves. And this is a wax flower. Oh, I thought I got some. I love using the wax flowers. They come in all different colors, but they're real shiny. And again, they kind of fill avoid. It's a filler flower. So there are all of the flowers and the fillers and the greenery. And those are the 3 different things that you use when you put your flower arrangements together. You can also use different things that will kind of create a statement. So here is like a willow. But you need to make sure that you take into consideration what you're going to be using your flower arrangement for, who it's for, maybe the things that they like, the different colors that they like. So there's a lot that goes into creating an arrangement. Okay, so this is single flower arrangements. These are bud vases, and these bud vases, see how small that opening is? This would be probably for a single flower. You don't want to cram a lot of flowers into a bud vase because it's going to look like it's going to topple over. Here are a couple of different bud vases. The one is more traditional with the rose and the baby's breath. And the other one I think is a little bit more formal because it's got the lemongrass in it, and it's just kind of a fun way. They use the baby's breath, but they use it in a different way, really lightly at the bottom. Whoop. We didn't go anywhere. There we go. So these bud vases have 2 flowers in them. Most of the time when we create flower arrangements, we use odd numbers. We use 1, 3, 5 because it just looks better. These look okay. I tend to use odd numbers more than even numbers. In the one with the roses, they balanced it out by bringing the greens down below a little bit. And let's see if I can move this over. And then the pink one with the Gerber daisies, they have the Gerber daisies more to the top, and then they filled it in a little bit more and made it wider at the bottom with their greenery and their eucalyptus. Okay, so these are 3 flowers in a bud vase. The one clear to the right.
Pause for just a second. There they are.
Okay, sorry about that. Whoa, did it get big?
Nope, it still looks normal to me anyway.
Okay, well, I lost it. Hold on. Let me see if I can get back to it. Oh my gosh.
Oh, there it got big.
Okay, let me advance. Love technology. Okay, tell me when you can see the 3 flower bud vases.
There we go.
Okay, so the one on the right is more traditional because this just has the carnations and the baby's breath. It looks really full, and that's a really pretty color. The one next to it, the yellow, that has more leading lines, and it's a monochromatic because they have used the yellow solidago at the bottom as a filler. The pink one is kind of an analogous one. They've used the 3 flowers. It looks a little bit more fuller, and they've made it a little bit wider, looks more like a triangle shape in the bud base. And then I really like this one with the red roses and the yellow solidago. It has leading lines. It almost looks like kind of a curve the way they have them placed, and they have placed the yellow flowers kind of along with them. And so it makes it look really attractive. The one clear to the left I think is a little bit more formal because it's used the lemongrass and it's bright and airy and real clean and crisp. Okay, so this is where arrangement. So hopefully after this class, you will be able to go to your local flower shop and pick out some flowers that for an occasion. So the first thing you need to do is decide what occasion you want to make a flower arrangement for. Maybe it's to give to your mom, maybe it's to give to someone who has impacted your life. When we do this class in Manhattan, you get to make two arrangements, one to keep for yourself, and we always want to give one away. So we're always paying it forward. And the fun part about doing that is the unexpected. So a lot of times you receive flowers and you had no idea. So real quick, Ginger, we're gonna ask our participants who has received flowers. And so put yes or no if you've received flowers, and then for what occasion. Maybe like a birthday or a just because or a thank you or.
We've got a yes for my birthday.
Okay.
And a thumbs up. Yes for Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Yes after a dance recital.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
But it was a very long time ago, so I don't remember why.
Oh, you need flowers again.
Yes, birthday and Valentine's Day. Yes for Valentine's. We got a no. Another no.
Okay, well, flowers are meant to make you feel really good. Did we get another one?
We have an I don't think so and a yes for Valentine's.
Okay, okay. So flowers really, they make you feel good. They make you feel loved, they make you feel wanted, and they make you feel appreciated. And it's just that unexpected, you know, somebody comes to your door and they have a flower arrangement, it just makes your heart melt because you know that somebody cares. And so a lot of times I like to give flower arrangements just to the unexpected. I suggest, you know, with our kids that when we have this class in Manhattan, you may be walking down the street and just hand it to somebody that, you know, you meet on the street. And one of the kids did that one year and reported back to me, and they said that was the best thing. And the person they handed it to must have been having a bad day because it made them cry. And so that was such a good feeling. So that paying it forward is huge in the flower industry. And so we always want to think of other people because it does make you feel good. And so decide what occasion. So if we're getting ready to make our arrangement, we need to decide who we want to give it to. Or like I said, if you're just walking down the street in your hometown and you hand it to somebody, it might be kind of odd, but the feeling and the response you get will be a very good surprise. I would suggest that you use 1 to 3 flowers. So I would suggest doing the bud vase now because that's the simplest thing to do. So use 1 to 3 flowers. It's just harder to use odd or even number flowers. And decide what kind of a color scheme. Do you want to do monochromatic? Do you one color? Do you want to do analogous where the 3 colors are next to each other? What color scheme do you want to use? And then select the flowers that you want to use. And a lot of times it depends on the cost. So roses are a little bit more expensive than carnations. Daisies, I love daisies. And then the Gerber daisies and just the regular daisies. And then tulips are a little bit more difficult because they tend to curve and lean over. Their stems aren't as strong. So a lot of times you need to put them and make sure that you have some other type of greenery or filler flower to support them as well. So then you also need to select your greenery. So you need to make sure it complements your flowers. Are you going to do something more formal? Are you going to do something just more traditional? You want an airy feeling? Do you want more of a full feeling? And so just look at all the different types of greenery that they have. And then select filler flowers that are going to complement the flowers that you have. Like I said yesterday, they had very, very few selections. Her flowers were coming in this morning at 10 o'clock, so she'll have a lot more to choose from the next time. But just try to pick something that's going to complement your flowers. So we are going to try to virtually put together a flower arrangement. The first thing that you want to do when you create your flower arrangement is choose your vase. And so this one is pink.
Patsy, do you want to stop screen sharing so that we can see like you bigger?
Oh, thank you. Yes. Okay, that better?
And guys, if you click on speaker view at the top right of your screen, we'll show you Patsy bigger so you don't have all the little boxes in your way.
Okay, is that?
So you're good. That's just something they have to do. So you're fine.
Thank you. Yep. I like you as a moderator. Monitor, yeah. Okay, so here, I wonder if I can get that glare. There we go. This is kind of an analogous. So, whoop. So which flower would we put at the bottom or of the vase, closer to the bottom of the vase? Would it be the darker one or the lighter one? So type in the chat.
We have a lighter and a dark. Mixed reviews, another dark. Another vote for dark one. Another dark. Okay, so dark is the winner. If you put them from lightest to darkest, it's less heavy on the top and heavier on the bottom. If I reverse them, your flower arrangement is going to look heavy on the top and lighter on the bottom, and it's going to look like it wants to fall over. So a lot of times we put our darker colored flowers at the bottom for that reason. Okay, so those are the flowers that we're going to use. I prepared water that has a preservative in it. And so we're going to fill our vase about 3/4 full, about there. Okay, when you start, you're going to start with your greenery first. So you want to make sure, number one, that you don't have leaves in the water because it will make the water go bad quickly. And so none of these leaves should be in the water. And then you need to decide how tall you want your arrangement to be. So these flowers do not have very long stems on them. I think they've been cut several times. So we're going to make, you don't want your greenery to be as tall as your vase. You want it to be about at least maybe 2/3, because otherwise it's going to get too tall. So I hold my greenery up to my vase, and I usually set it at the edge of the table. So if this is the table, then I know where I need to cut my stems off. If I do it this way, I'm more apt to make sure that I'm not cutting it too short. I can always cut more off, but I can't add it back on. And so I'm going to cut this one right here for my first cut. And a lot of times you want to cut your stems at an angle. I don't know if you guys can see that. Instead of straight across, because there's more surface for the water to absorb into the stem and it will last
longer. So we want to put our greenery in the vase. And so I like to use a couple of pieces of greenery, even in a bud vase, just to make it look a little bit fuller. So we're going to put this next, oh, that's hard to hold that way. We're going to put this next piece, not as tall, a little bit lower than the first piece. And so if I had it set it on the edge of the table, I'm going to cut it off right here. And I'll cut at an angle. Every time you take your flowers out of water, you really should make a new cut so that it will be able to absorb the water better. Okay, this has this branch right here. It will probably be in the water if I stick it in the vase. So I'm going to cut these off. I'm not going to throw them away because those are pieces that can be used in a different arrangement, especially if you're using the foam. Okay, so I'm going to put this piece of greenery in the vase as well. See that? And then I'm also going to put one more over to this side. And you can see this one's pretty full, so we're going to cut it down as well. I wasn't looking to see. So this, we're going to cut off a lot more on this one. And then these two pieces are going to have to come off because they would be in the water. And then we'll place this on this side. So we have one that is taller and then these two at the sides. Okay. So we're going to put our pink one at the top. A lot of times when you get carnations, they are not completely open. You can very easily just take your thumbs and gently push the petals out to the side, and it will open that flower up a little bit more so it's a little bit prettier right away. And just do it gently and see the difference it made. This one was really tight and that opened it up. Okay, so I'm going to decide I want the pink one to be at the top. And so we're going to have to cut this much off. But then this has to come off because it will be in the water and it will make our water go bad. Okay, so we will put this in and get it placed at the top of our design. The next will be the darker pink one. And so we're going to put it probably right about here, which we need to cut this much off and then pull these leaves off as well because they would be in the water. And poke him in. And this vase is already starting to get a little bit full. So, you know, and I only have like 5 stems in here so far. So you don't want to put a lot of flowers in these small bud vases. And the last one is our darker color because it's heavier and we're going to put it more at the bottom. And this vase actually complements the 3 colors because it's kind of a pink color as well. So I'm going to cut it off there. Are we good, Ginger?
We are. You have about 4 minutes left, Patsy.
Okay, I'll hurry.
A little warning.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so there we've got our darker color at the bottom. Kind of hard to do standing up. Okay, there are those. And then we can the yellow status in. So I'm just going to use the status, and I know it is not the best quality, but just to add a little bit different texture. And as a filler, same thing. I look to see, and it is right there, but I'm still going to cut it because it needs a new cut so that it can absorb the water. And this has a little bit of a curve, so it's kind of fun to get it in, place it where you think it's going to look the best. And then we'll put another one maybe here. And that needs cut off just a little bit as well. And a lot of times your flowers will move just a little bit when you're trying to get them in, so no problem, just kind of rearrange them again a little bit. It's easier to use silk flowers because you can actually bend them and put them where you want. So this one is a little bit straighter, and so I'm going to use it like right back here. So it needs to be cut off a little bit as well. Okay. That's not the best, but not bad. Okay, does that kind of make sense? The last thing you need to do, you always back your arrangements. So you want the back to look just as pretty as the front. So I always put another piece right there so that if somebody's looking from the back, you don't see all of your workmanship. So you back your arrangements. And that also helps give this one a little bit more support and push it forward. So now the back looks pretty as well as the front. And a lot of times, if you become a designer, a lot of times you want to put your signature on it. So maybe you want to put like a little twig or something, or just put a little flower in the back, and that will make it look as pretty, but it's also your signature. So maybe you're always going to put a little piece of status in your arrangement somewhere so that they know who the designer is. Okay, where are we at on time? Whoa.
Right at 10.
Questions? Anybody have any questions? That was like fast and furious.
If you guys have questions, feel free to type them in the chat box.
Yep. And also, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them. But I would challenge you to go out and get some flowers, and then also try to make an arrangement to give maybe to your grandma. Maybe you appreciate your mom because you had to do school at home and she's been a big help to you. Maybe it's an extension agent, maybe you're a 4-H agent or someone in your county, or a neighbor, an elderly person who doesn't have family close. So flowers, it's the gift of giving and the unknown. So, you know, we hope you take advantage of that. I will send this PowerPoint to everyone so that you have that to refer to after the class. So
thank you, Patsy, so much for sharing your knowledge about floral design. I really hope you guys will take that and go and practice making some arrangements. I am right now posting in the chat box how you can order t-shirts for Discovery Days, and we just wanted to make sure that you had access to that. So it's on the Discovery Days website, but also I just put the link in the chat box for you. I think we'll stay on for a couple minutes. So if you guys do have a question that you just didn't want to ask in front of everyone, feel free to stay on and ask Patsy. And I hope you guys have a great day. And thanks again to Patsy.
Yep. And feel free to unmute if you have questions to ask. And Ginger, I needed to tell Donna, I tried to order a t-shirt last night and it wouldn't let there was an error somewhere in it. It wasn't going through.
Oh,
So
I
we may
think
need.
she's on here, so hopefully
Oh,
she'll.
Donna, yes.
She said she was going to kind of listen in the background. So.
I am on. I will see. We had one other person say that same thing, and so it turned out that her order went through. It just didn't look like it on their end. So I will send a message to the company and see if they have an order for you.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
If you guys are staying on because you have questions, feel free to unmute and you can turn your camera on and chat with Patsy. But if not, you can feel free to push the leave button at the bottom and that'll take you out of Zoom. So thanks again.
Yes. And we hope you enjoy your other classes if you've.
We got some thank yous in the chat box for you to look at, Patsy.
Awesome.
It's always fun to look at flower arrangements. I love looking at those pictures you had.
Oh, I know that. Yeah. And you know, a lot of times, sometimes when I fill in at the flower shops, people will bring in a picture and say, this is what I want. And you're going, oh, okay, we don't have all of that stuff, but we can fill in a few things. It's fun. It's my stress relief. So.
Well, thank you both so much for being a part of this. I really appreciate it. We're getting through it. It's gonna be what it is, but I'm sure there'll be some hiccups, but I appreciate you guys doing this and making it happen. So
yeah, not a problem.
Yeah. I had no idea how this was gonna work. So I might try to, I know we only have maybe 6 or something on the Friday group. So I may try to email them and see if they want to get flowers ahead of time, or should I just leave it and they can go do it after? Thoughts?
I think sending them a chance now would be fun.
Okay. We might try it. I mean, it's kind of hard to be real interactive.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, so yeah, it's hard just to, challenging, hard to sit there and watch. And so I think I will try to do that. And I don't know, I assume maybe they just didn't want to, there's just a lot less. And how many did we end up having?
I think there were 14 or 15 is where
That's
we
what
talked
I thought.
about. And if you take that out, then 12-ish. So
yeah,
hopefully you'll have all 6 on Friday.
Hopefully. I looked at the registration and I thought there were like 29. So I thought that was kind of either maybe they forgot or.
Yeah, there were 29 of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes things come up. It's a little different when you're not in person.
I know. Yeah, I'm crazy. So.
Okay. Well, I think we're good. So.
Thank you for being my monitor and.
Absolutely, not a problem.
It helped by, when you told me that there was lag time and I think my internet must have been kind of sketchy today for some odd reason.
Yeah, I think it might have been a little bit, but sometimes
it hasn't been. It hasn't been with all those Zooms we've had to do. So why today?
I know. I've only had one problem, and it was during a really important fair board meeting, and I was like, yeah, of course.
I know, during the important stuff. So anyway, okay. Well, I'll go.
Good job.
I'll give this arrangement to somebody, and we'll do it again on Friday.
That's good.
All right. Thank you.
See you later. Bye.